In the ancient Egyptian worldview, immortality was a technical requirement. A pharaoh's name and physical image had to remain visible and intact on Earth to ensure the soul's survival in the afterlife. This official chronological sequence of royal names has a massive discrepancy. A specific 17-year period was deliberately skipped. It wasn't a clerical error, but a targeted deletion by the state. Chipping away these names required immense labor to deny a ruler their eternity. To understand a punishment this absolute, we must investigate the crimes of the missing king. The physical site of this missing history lies at the isolated desert ruins of Amarna. Though it is a barren stretch of sand today, 3,000 years ago, this was the sprawling capital of the deleted pharaoh. Inside the local tombs, the damage is specific and violent. Royal faces were systematically smashed and hacked from the stone by ancient Vandals. The target of this erasure was Amenhotep IV, who renamed himself Akhenaten. To account for this total rejection, we must look at the 17-year reign that his successors worked so hard to bury. Akhenaten's reign was a radical religious and political mutation. He forced mandates upon his kingdom that effectively dismantled centuries of established cosmic order. Akhenaten began by outlawing the traditional pantheon of gods, led by Amun-Ra. He ordered the closure of Egypt's most sacred and wealthy temples, stripping the religious establishment of its power. In their place, he instituted the mandatory exclusive worship of a single abstract entity, known as the Aten, or the sun disk. This pivot was a massive centralization of power. Akhenaten proclaimed that he alone was the earthly conduit to the Aten, effectively cutting the traditional priesthood out of the social and economic hierarchy. This religious shift mirrored a radical change in state art. For centuries, pharaohs were depicted as muscular, idealized figures of strength. Akhenaten's official portraits show a jarring departure. He is depicted with an elongated face and feminine body proportions, features that were mandated by the state. He used art and theology to present himself as a completely new type of divine authority, one that answered to no traditional law or institution. To isolate his cult from the old guard, Akhenaten abandoned the capital of Thebes. He ordered the construction of a massive new city in the deep desert, Amarna. This city rose at an unprecedented speed due to a specific architectural innovation, the Talatot block. These 60-kilogram blocks were small enough to be carried by a single person. This modular system allowed the city's temples and palaces to be built in record time. But the skeletons found in the Amarna cemeteries expose the dark secret behind that construction speed. The graves of children and young adults show forensic evidence of extreme labor loads and severe malnutrition. Many of the remains show signs of being worked to death before they reached adulthood. Amarna was a sun-drenched utopia for the heretic pharaoh, but a deadly labor camp for the generation of workers who were trapped building it. Akhenaten's total obsession with his sun cult came at the cost of the state. He ignored international politics, causing Egypt's geopolitical influence and security to decay. When he died after 17 years, he left a fractured and impoverished empire in the hands of his 9-year-old son, Tutankhaten. The boy king was immediately pressured by the surviving priests and advisors to reverse his father's catastrophic revolution. In a final symbolic surrender, the boy king abandoned Amarna and changed his name to Tutankhamun, honoring the old god his father had banned. Archaeological evidence shows a rapid return to tradition. Tomb items from this era, like this jed pillar amulet, confirm that the worship of Osiris and the traditional afterlife were officially restored. The legacy of Tutankhamun, the world's most famous pharaoh, was defined by the desperate attempt to clean up the chaos his father left behind. Simply restoring the old gods wasn't enough for the Egyptian establishment. They demanded historical vengeance for the trauma Akhenaten had caused. Officials began the physical dismantling of Amarna and the systematic scrubbing of Akhenaten's name from all public monuments, a process intended to delete him from history forever. By attempting to force an eternal artificial utopia, Akhenaten guaranteed his own absolute destruction. Despite this erasure, the ruins of his isolated city were accidentally preserved under the sand, providing modern archaeologists with a unique view of a lost artistic world. Akhenaten's story remains a warning. A ruler who breaks the cosmic order to make himself absolute will inevitably be erased by the very history he tried to rewrite.